China, Japan, Mexico. What I say is what I say. When do we beat Mexico at the border? They are not our friend. They're laughing at us. I don't think they like me very much. I don't think they like me very much. We need to build a wall, and I will have Mexico pay for that wall.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Johnny Ray Show. We have quite a bit to get to, so we're going to jump pretty much right into it. Vanderbilt decided that they were going to make some history over the last week. CNN's about 10 months late to the Knowledge Party. We'll have an update on the Senate hearings for the allegations of election fraud in Arizona, Michigan, as well as Pennsylvania. There is a new male to join the patriarchy for Hollywood. A Kazakhstan bodybuilder decides to marry his sex doll and posts about it on social media. And we also take a brief look at the flip-floppery of the liberal left, the woke liberal left, on election fraud. There was election fraud, there's not election fraud. There was election fraud, there's not election fraud. All that and more on this episode of the Johnny Ray Show. Welcome back, and thank you for joining me on this episode of the Johnny Ray Show. So, Vanderbilt College, never been known one to make bold statements, but they've decided to join the woke left over the last week or so, and they recruited a female soccer player to be their kicker in the most recent game. Soccer player Sarah Fuller, who is a decent soccer player. She decided that she was going to join the Vanderbilt men's football team as a kicker, and they played her in her first game, and well, it was definitely extraordinary. Take a look at what happened with that.
As Sarah Fuller is about to put her right foot into a football, speaking volumes to women around the world.
Awesome moment. You can hear the crowd. Everybody understands what's happening right now. This is a pretty cool moment.
And the kick down at the 35-yard line, and Sarah Fuller. Happy Thanksgiving.
What an extraordinary kick it was. Now, most people would look at this and they would say, well, maybe they meant to squib kick it. Maybe that's how it was supposed to play. I look at that and say you're full of crap, because anybody with two brain cells to rub together and even a fraction of knowledge of football could tell you that she didn't mean to kick it like that. That's how it happened. And the reason I know that is because A, this was to start the second half of the game. Okay, you don't generally use a squib kick to start a half of a football game. You don't. Under the only real circumstance is if you were trying to A, make sure that the returning team doesn't have a huge gain, a huge return, which that may be possible, that may be plausible. I don't think it is, because of the fact that they were down by 40 points. Okay? And they're like 0-9 on the season. I don't think they were worried about the returner having a huge return. Other than the fact that if she had kicked it like a male all the way down the field, she would have then had to finish the play like a kicker normally would, which means she would have to run downfield and try and stop the person returning the ball if she got close. She wasn't going to do that, and you know that this was pandering because not one single player on the other team got anywhere close to her. I've seen kickers in college and in the NFL get hit like quarterbacks while somebody's returning the ball. She didn't have anybody around her for 10 yards. This was pure and simple pandering to the woke left that want you to believe that women and men are inherently the same. They're not. They're not. That is why they have women's softball and men's baseball. If you take a women's softball player, no matter how good they are at softball, and you put them on a baseball diamond with Derek Jeter and Alex Rodriguez, they're going to get killed because they are inherently different. There is a difference athletically, intellectually, physically between men and women. Men are inherently stronger. They're inherently faster. They're inherently more agile than a woman. That's why they are not, generally speaking, playing the same sports together. If they were, well, I don't have to say if they were, because we've had plenty of instances of males who identify as females go into a female combat sport and completely obliterate them. Completely. Take a look at the MMA. There was a male who identified as female, went into the MMA and almost killed the girl that he was fighting. It's no crazy scientific feat to know that women and men are inherently different. And it's not a bad thing. Because where men lack, women pick up, and where women lack, men can pick up. That's what makes the union of a man and a woman compatible. It works. Where a man is strong, a woman is intellectual and nurturing. But if you ask the left will tell you that there's no difference between a man and a woman, even when the science proves otherwise. You know, they yell and scream about if you believe that a biological male is a biological male and not a female, that you're a science denier. This coming from the group of people that can't even fathom the mere mention of science proving that life begins at conception. They can't fathom that science. So it's only science when it applies to their ideological belief. Now, it was reported that not only did she devastatingly screw that kick up completely, but prior to this, she actually gave a speech at halftime to the Vanderbilt football team on how they could come back and win this game. She claims that because she is such an amazing soccer player with other women, that she knew the key to motivate the male football team. What was her motivation? Her motivation was, yeah, guys, we need to go cheer each other on the sidelines out there because that's going to work. No. Again, men and women are inherently different, and that is no exception to what motivates men over what motivates women. Men are motivated by getting hyped up, yelling, screaming, hitting each other. That is what motivates a man to want to go out and destroy another man on the battlefield of whatever sport they're playing. What motivates women is hugs and kisses and let's all hold hands and sing Kumbaya. Maybe. But that's not what motivates a man. I can tell you right now, I played many a sports when I was younger. Not one time did somebody come to me and say, hey, I'll be cheering for you on the sidelines, and that made me want to go out there and play better. No. What they want is they want Al Pacino in any given Sunday yelling, screaming, kicking things, throwing trash cans through locker doors. That's what they want. That's what motivates them. Hitting each other, yelling at each other, getting amped up. Not let's cheer each other on the sidelines. That is a cheerleader. And that is what makes women and men inherently different. Because maybe in the women's soccer, they're excited to hear their fellow teammates cheering each other on. Men don't. They don't get excited about that. And that's not me talking. That's history. Any male sport movie. And first-hand experience telling me that. So anyway, on to other news. CNN has decided to finally join the decided to join the party of China quite possibly mishandled information on the COVID-19 virus, thus causing the United States to enter the pandemic that we've all been taught to fear and be so paranoid and scared of over the last 10 or 11 months. All I can say to that is, well, welcome to the party, pal. Because we've been saying that since March. Well, probably before that, February even. We were saying, conservatives were saying, China completely obliterated the information that they should have told us so that we could have prepared better. Did we do everything perfectly right? No. Did we do everything horribly wrong? No. Donald Trump did as much as he could with the information he was given. And a lot of people have said, well, Donald Trump would have, if he would have told the American people that it was airborne, he did. Okay? He did. He said it. Dr. Fauci, the great and wonderful Dr. Fauci, that kind of reminds me of that guy from the movie The Burbs with Tom Hanks. He kind of reminds me of that little crazy guy. Even he, as flip-floppery as he is, even he said that Donald Trump pretty clearly passed on the information that he was given to the American people. There wasn't a whole lot more that he was given that he didn't give to the American people to some degree. They have finally decided, they wrote a whole article about it, and basically all they said was that the biggest key that you could pick out of this article is that they said that China possibly held back some information that they shouldn't have held back. But then by the end of the article, of course, because it's CNN and Orange Man Bad, they had to go to, but even though they held back information, it doesn't change the fact that Donald Trump would have still horribly messed up the COVID virus response. And the reason that I know this is complete bullcrap is because even if China had been 100% transparent, even if they had said everything that needed to be said, it wouldn't have mattered, because CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, Vox, all these, HuffPo, none of them would have reported on it, because had it not been for that, they wouldn't have been able to blame Donald Trump for everything. They wouldn't have been able to use this pandemic as the crutch to push lockdowns, their ridiculous draconian lockdowns that they've presented over the past 10 months. They wouldn't have been able to completely obliterate the economy, for which it's finally coming back. And of course, they're giving the credit to Joe Biden for whatever weird off-the-cuff reason. They wouldn't have been able to push their arbitrary mandates, their mask mandates, and their 6 feet social distancing, and you can't go here, but you can go here. You have to have specific times to go here. You got to wear a mask when you go into the restaurant, but when you sit down, you enter this magical aura of COVID-free, so you could take your mask off. But if you get up to go to the bathroom, you got to put the mask back on, even though in between that time, you've had people walking back and forth, coughing, spitting, loogieing all over the place. Your waitress or waiter has been over to your table and basically slurred every spit particle out of their mouth into your coffee or your drink, into your plate. The cooks in the back, they're not wearing gloves. They're not in the aura of the table-free, COVID-free zone. They're not wearing masks, and if they are wearing masks, they're probably scratching their head, flicking boogers everywhere. Lord only knows. But it's okay, because you can't get COVID because you're inside the little bubble. They even went so far as to say that you can only eat outside, but then when they moved you outside, it was just a giant tent. So you were inside the tent, but you're outside the building, and that stops COVID. It's been ridiculous. And they wouldn't have been able to do any of that if China had been 100% transparent, and they reported it. That's what it boils down to. It doesn't matter if they were 100% transparent or not, because it wouldn't have been reported, because then they wouldn't have been able to implement all these ridiculous mandates. They wouldn't have been able to push for the mass mail-in ballots that are causing the election to have so many issues right now. They wouldn't have been able to, because if everybody had been able to, if everybody had wanted to go to the polls, they could have went to the polls and voted. Now they gave them the option to mass mail-in ballot, which means the one way that the election is rife with fraud, the possibility of fraud, and they pushed it because of COVID-19. And had China been 100% transparent and they reported on it, they wouldn't have been able to push that fear-demic of having to have mass mail-in ballots, because people would have went to the polls. And we wouldn't be in this situation we are now. And they knew that that was the only way that they were going to have the ability to potentially affect the outcome of this presidential election. So it doesn't matter if they were 100, they could have been 200% transparent. They could have literally recorded everything and emailed it to Donald Trump. Donald Trump could have took it and emailed it to CNN, Jake Tapper, Don Lemon, Chris Lesser Cuomo, Brian Stelter, Mr. Nuisance Money, that guy. And it wouldn't have mattered. Because they would have not reported on it. Because they didn't want you to know that this virus isn't that horrible. Yes, people have died, and yes, people dying is horrible. I don't want anybody to think that I am just out here hoping to God people die, because I don't. I know people who have gotten sick. I know people who have lost loved ones to this particular virus. But with a virus that has a survival rate of 99.96, we have given up freedoms, we have given up our jobs, our livelihoods, the economy. We have down spiraled from the greatest country on earth to something you would see in a third world country, because of the fact that the mainstream legacy media pushed the fear logic into everybody's brain so tightly that everybody is so scared of this virus that you see people with masks and visors and damn near hazmat suits in their car by themselves driving down the road. There was a picture on Twitter that somebody had shared, and I'm sure it was a joke, but it rings very true. It was a picture of a dashboard of a car. Somebody had put masks over the air vents because they're so paranoid. And you know, do I think that somebody did that realistically? Probably not, but it would not surprise me, because people are so terrified of a virus that kills less people, that's killed less people in the 11 months that it's been around, 12 months I guess, because January, February-ish, that the 11 or 12 months that it's been around, it's killed less people than secondhand smoke does. It's killed less people than the average flu, because people can push the 270,000 deaths. Okay. But even the CDC said, not too long ago, that only like 10% of those deaths were of the virus itself. The rest of them were other causes. Cancer, diabetes. The guy drove his motorcycle off of a bridge. Some wife caught her husband cheating, blew him and her away. COVID. Okay? You can lump those in all you want, but statistically those weren't COVID deaths. Dying with the disease and dying from a disease are two totally different things. That would be like if I had cancer and I'm going through chemo, and I go outside to check my mail, and my neighbor, who doesn't like me very much, shoots me in the face and I die. Cancer didn't kill me. The bullet through my face did. And that's what people, they don't pay attention to that. They don't think about that. They think about, oh, COVID, he's died, it's COVID death. No, it's not. That is ridiculous, uneducated, and it makes you look very, very stupid. Now, on to the Senate hearings on the alleged election fraud were held over the last week and a half or so. The first one being in Pennsylvania, the second one being in Arizona a couple days ago, and then Michigan yesterday. And I'm going to just go through some of the highlights of the people that were presenting some of the evidence. I will start with Pennsylvania because that was the first one. This was an amazing, this witness was an expert on the election, and he was saying how there was like 400 and some thousand votes in a 90-minute span for Joe Biden and like 3,200 for Donald Trump. Take a listen to this.
Normally you would expect to see a smooth curve going up, not any big spikes. That's kind of what Greg was talking about, the anomalies of loading and uploading those votes. So that big spike that occurs there is a prime indicator of fraudulent voting.
And that's 604,000 votes in 90 minutes, is that right?
Correct. This is 337 votes, 337,000 votes in that
period of time.
Yes.
And when you look at this entire curve with all these spikes, can you calculate how much of a vote that accounted for Biden and how much for Trump?
Close to 600,000. I think our figures were about 570 some odd thousand that all those spikes represent over time.
For Biden?
Correct.
And how much for Trump?
I think it was a little over 3,200.
So 570 some thousand for Joe Biden, 3,200 for Donald Trump. Now, I'm no election expert, but I don't think that's statistically possible. I mean, even in the most bluest of counties, I don't think that's statistically possible. That sounds like something took place. Now, I don't know because I'm not doing the investigation. I'm bringing you the information. Do with it as you will. But I would venture to say you can't show me one county in the United States in the opposite direction. I venture to say there's not one county in the United States that had almost 600,000 votes for Donald Trump and only 3,200 votes in a 90-minute dump. I can almost guarantee you there's not. And comment down below. If you can find one, comment down below. I'll be more than happy to take a look at it, and I will retract my statement on the next episode. I don't think there is, because I don't think even in the reddest of red counties or the bluest of blue counties that kind of statistical anomaly is possible. I just don't. So the next one would be in Arizona, and this was a gentleman that was discussing, because the Secretary of State in Arizona simultaneously, while the hearing was going on, was certifying the vote for Arizona for Joe Biden. And this gentleman was asked, after that news was made public, he was asked about if he were in that position, would he have certified those votes? This was his response.
Just tell us in your, in the simplest way possible as an expert, what is your opinion as to the validity of the numbers that were certified today by the Secretary of State and the governor about this election?
If I was an executive at a publicly traded company, I would never sign that because I risked jail time and having all my money taken from me in lawsuits. So to answer your question, I would never ever have certified. I'd rather resign than have certified those results.
I would rather resign than certify those results. That is the common logical answer. If, as the head of a state and the head of an election board, if there are questions, there are lawsuits, there's litigation ongoing in your state at that moment, why would you certify? Why would you be so quick to certify that. I mean, it took you almost a month to finish the counting. Why not hold off a little bit? Because they knew, the governor and the Secretary of State knew that if they held off and they let an investigation go willingly, that there was a potential that it would be overturned. Now, do I think that they did wrong by certifying? I wouldn't have done it, but it's their their option. I mean, it's their state, their election process. But I will say that it kind of plays into the hand of Donald Trump, because in something like this, in order to get it to the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, and get it in front of the Supreme Court justices of the United States, they have to be certified so that he can go and he can file the necessary litigation. So they certified, which is fine, because that plays into what Donald Trump needed them to do anyway. Now, do I think he's going to win Arizona? I don't know. He will have to come up with lots and lots of proof, and lots of real proof, not just, possibilities of fraud. Do I think he can do it? I think if anybody can, Donald Trump can. And I think that Rudy Giuliani and Team Trump have the best option to do it. Because so far, Donald Trump, in the 4 years he's been president, has been the most fightingest president. I mean, he has scrapped it out with everybody who stepped up and wanted to challenge him to any kind of match, whether it's a Twitter match, whether it's a debate match, whether it's a have you on the show and ask you really stupid questions and try and get you on the gotcha moments. He has never backed away from the challenge, and I don't think he's going to start now, nor do I think he should start now. Now, the next one was this was a guy who was asked if he would swear under oath as to what he saw, which kind of is a bit mundane, because he's already signed an affidavit that swears under oath that if he is lying or found to be in the wrong, that he would face jail time. I mean, that's kind of a mundane thing to ask, but he was asked, and his answer was an emphatic answer. Take a listen.
When we're talking about, it was Mr. Krebs? Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. He stated most secure election in history. He stated we're not connected to the internet. He stated no votes leave this country. This is all things he's stated publicly.
So on the CISA website, correct?
Right. So are you willing to say under oath that you have seen the connection to the internet? You have seen it go offshore to Germany, Frankfurt. Are these things that you have personally seen and can say that is not true?
Our white hat hackers, yes, they have that traffic in the packets.
So why would he make that kind of comment, do you think?
Either not knowing, believing the myth, or not wanting the truth to be known.
Thank you.
Senator Morelli?
So, the man is absolutely right. When he's asked, if you're willing to swear under oath at what you saw, which was that the voting machines were connected to the internet, they were hardwired to the internet, and there was activity between the voting ballot machine and a third-party source in Germany, which later on was released, or just prior to this released, that they were outsourcing the vote counting to another company based in Germany. So they were basically, the voting machines were getting the ballots, they were sending them over the internet essentially to a corporation in Germany who was counting the ballots and then sending them back on their server. Why would, if you say you'll swear under oath that that's what you saw happening, why would the other gentleman, why would he say that this was the most secure election and that wasn't the case? And it's a clear-cut reason, either two reasons. Either A, he isn't aware of what's going on and doesn't want to be aware, or B, he knows what's going on and doesn't want it to get out. That's the only two options. And to me, that's the only two logical options that you can have. So, on to this is the lady. This is a lady in Michigan, and this is my number 2 favorite video that's going around, this viral video of this lady, and she is fired up, and she is just spitballing with the best of them. Take a listen.
But let me tell you, it was voter fraud at its finest, pure and calculated fraud. And I wouldn't be surprised if people up here was involved. But this young man right here, Senator McDaniel, Donald, I got to give you kudos. I see you're interested in this. And Senator Thies, I have to give you kudos because I see you're really paying attention. I wish Senator Lucido was here because I say he's paying attention. And now I think you will pay attention. And I plead the blood of Jesus over this fraud. And that everybody that was part of it and know about it will be convicted in their soul and their spirit. They won't sleep. They won't eat until they come right. Thank you, Jesus. Amen.
Thank you.
Woo! Amen. Amen. She was fired up. Now, do I think that having witnesses that are fired up and ready to tell what happened, that's great. Do I think that it's the best look that some of the witnesses have been kind of off the cuff and not really what you would call professional? No, but I think that this type of reaction is the best reaction. Because right now, Donald Trump is running extremely close to being out of time. Okay? He is very, very close. I mean, we're looking at 10 or 11 days at this point. He has to pull a rabbit out of the hat. He has to throw a Hail Mary. He's back on his 10 or 15 yard line, and he's got to make a touchdown, and he ain't got no timeouts. Okay? This is the way to get the point across, to get the eyes on what's going on. Because right now, the legacy media, the left mainstream media, isn't showing any of this. I've talked to liberals on Twitter, Facebook, on all social media platforms, and the vast majority of them don't even know that hearings are going on, because they're being told by CNN and Brian Stelter that all the Trump litigations are being kicked down and shot down and shut up, and he's not getting anywhere. They're not seeing that this is actually going on. And this is the way to do that, to get them to see it, because the more crazy stuff like this lady, this up in your face, spitballing, getting loud, I thought she was about to break out into some hymns. And that's the best way, because the more of that, the more the base is going to push the videos, and the more people are going to have to see it without CNN and Brian, I swear I'm straight Stelter, talking about it. Okay. Before I get to my number one favorite clip, I want to side off to Georgia, where I believe it was today, it was revealed that there is video evidence of some indiscretions going on during the Georgia counting And this video was, if you look at the timestamp says that it's November 3rd, and it's in the event center where they were counting ballots in Georgia. I believe it's Marietta, Georgia, but don't quote me on that. Don't fact check me. I'm almost certain it was Marietta, Georgia, but could be off. All I can tell you is that it's the event center where they were counting the ballots, and this is video taken from what we can only assume is from the arena camera system during the vote counting. So take a look at this, and I'll kind of narrate as we go there.
At about 8 o'clock in the morning, we're going to roll this back and show it to you. There you go. So now they're going to start pulling these ballots out from under this table. This table, the black one, was placed there by the lady with the blonde braids at about 8:22 a.m. in the morning. So she put that table there. So the same person who's staying behind now, the same person who cleared the place out under the pretense that we're going to stop counting, is the person who put the table there at 8:22 in the morning. Yeah, I saw 4 suitcases come out from underneath the table. Yeah, upper right hand, you see the gentleman in the red. So he just pulled one out.
Now look, I know a lot of people are screaming and hollering about, well, you don't know what's going on because there's no sound, you don't know what's going on. You're right. We don't know what's going on. But I can tell you that in Georgia, in order to do mail-in ballot counting, you are required by Georgia state law to have the option for a Republican and a Democrat poll watcher to watch you process those ballots. Now, in the video you can clearly see there is nobody watching some of these people process ballots. There is no poll watchers in the room at all from what it seems like. On the 4 different camera angles, I don't see any poll watchers standing there watching. None. And what people are failing to realize is that it doesn't matter if we know for sure what was going on. What we do know is what we're seeing, and what we're seeing is they had no poll watchers there. They were pulling random boxes, what looks like suitcases, roll-around suitcases, full of what we could assume are ballots because it is paper, and obviously it didn't zoom in, so we can only assume that they're counting ballots because it's a ballot counting event going on, with no poll watchers and no accountability as to what they are doing with those ballots. So for everybody that's screaming, you don't know what they're doing, that's the problem. That's the problem. We don't know what they're doing. And that's why they need to audit the votes. And I think they should audit the votes in every one of these 5 or 6 swing states that magically at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night decided they were going to stop counting on election night, send all the workers home, and then start counting again. Okay? In Georgia, they had a water leak that they claimed. There was a burst pipe, and they had to send all the poll watchers home, and then they turned around and started counting again with no poll watchers. Come to find out, there was no water leak. Okay? Michigan was not physically not allowing poll watchers to watch. They were putting up Bristol board and poster board on the windows so they couldn't watch. Pennsylvania, they flat weren't letting Republican poll watchers in even after the Supreme Court mandated that they did. They still didn't. And a lot of people are saying, well, if they have a couple of ballots here and a couple ballots there, what's it really matter? It's not going to change the outcome. But the problem is that not one of these instances has to flip the vote if they all collectively are able to flip the vote. And you're not listening to all of them. You're catching in Georgia for the recount, there was like 3,500 votes that they just miraculously found during the recount, the hand recount. A lot of liberals on the left said, well, that's not enough to flip Georgia, so what does it matter? Why are you so upset by it? Well, no, but that, along with the dead people voting, the votes that you guys changed or you verified without any witnesses, all of those combined might be enough. Might have been enough to flip Georgia. We don't know until we audit the votes, audit the signatures, audit the ballots themselves, audit the witness, everything. That's the point. We don't know in the video what they're doing, and that's the problem. Okay, so I'm going to get to the last of the Arizona, or the Senate hearings. This one was in Michigan as well, and this one, she, all-time favorite. This lady, I hope that this clip of me reacting to this gets to her, because I would love to meet this girl. She is amazing. She's got the best attitude I've seen yet. Take a listen to this.
There's two options. Option number one is that the poll book numbers are not going to match.
They don't.
The actual. Not by thousands and thousands of votes. That's not what we see right now.
Take a look
option
again.
number one.
Take a look again.
Option number two is that they essentially were filling in names of people who didn't vote.
Dead people too?
So is that?
Let's
I guess,
let
is that
Representative
your suggestion?
Johnson ask his question, and then when
I
he's
thought that
done.
was his answer. Okay.
Well, I guess that's my question here is why we're not seeing the poll book off by 30,000 votes. That's not the case.
What did you guys do? Take it and do something crazy to it?
I'm just saying the numbers are not off by 30,000 votes. So
I know what
are you
I
saying
saw.
that they're filling in?
I know what I saw, and I signed something saying that if I'm wrong, I can go to prison. Okay. Did you?
Oh, that is the before I get to finish that, is it just me, or does that guy resemble somebody? Who does he? Oh yeah, this guy. That guy that you just saw, that Senator Johnson, I guess was his name. That I'm telling you, he moonlights as Lord Voldemort. I'm telling you, he does. Looks just like him. Cut his nose off. That is Voldemort. And this was the female Harry Potter. She killed him. Okay. Do I think that how she went about it was professional? No, by no means. But the left have not been professional in the last 15 years. So, to that I say, she deserves the Medal of Ass Kickery for these Senate hearings. She is by far the best. When she said, I signed something saying that if I'm wrong, I go to jail. Did you? Zero response. I mean, you couldn't have a response to that because he didn't. He didn't, and he knows it. Why would anybody willingly sign an affidavit that could put them in prison for years, not days, not hours, not months, years, if they're found to be lying? The answer is they wouldn't. No logical person, no normal person would put themselves in that position. And that leads me to believe that these people wouldn't either. Okay. On to the next topic, and this is the segment that I am now deeming this segment here as when liberals strike. Okay? Crazy liberals. When crazy liberals strike. We'll even go with that. Okay? So this is the newest person to join the patriarchy in Hollywood. The girl from Juno, a movie that came out a few years, it's been a while now, about the teen girl who gets pregnant and decides she doesn't want the kid, and instead of getting an abortion, she gets it up for adoption. Jason Bateman, Jennifer Garner, they're the couple. They adopt the baby. They agree to adopt the baby. And anyway, decent movie. It was no Friends with Benefits, and anybody who knows me knows that's my movie. But it was a decent movie. That actress, Ellen Page, has now came out as transgender, non-binary. She identifies as a boy and has pronouns of he and they, which is really weird because why would a he be called they? Different topic, different story for a different day. What I don't grasp is non-binary but identifies as a boy. I thought non-binary meant you didn't identify as anything. You were like air. You just blew around. Apparently I've been wrong for the last few years since that particular title has been out. But my biggest question is this. So in, let's see, when was it? It was, 2018, she married a dancer named Emma Portner. She came out as lesbian just before that, and then she announced that she was that she had married this Emma Portner. Now in 2020, she has decided that she's a boy, which is really weird because if she was a lesbian and she married a girl and then she decided she was a boy, that would just make her a straight male, right? Which would be the patriarchy, the essence of all things evil in America in 2020. I'm less concerned about that though than I am the fact that how does the spouse feel, Emma? How does Emma feel that she went to sleep one night? She went to sleep one night as a lesbian woman, and because her spouse decided that they wanted to be a different gender than they were previously, now she woke up and she is now a straight female. I would think that that's kind of disenfranchising to her because she didn't have any. I mean, she maybe she had a say in it, but this goes against everything that the left has been telling us for the last 15 years, and that is that homosexuality, lesbian, gay, bisexual, that's all inherent at birth. So if you're born homosexual, lesbian, bisexual, whatever your orientation is, if you're born that way, which is what the left has been saying, that it's you're birthed into being a lesbian or being homosexual, being gay, being bisexual, you're born that way. Now Emma would have to divorce her spouse because now she's not married to a woman. So she's still gay, I assume, because she was born that way, right? So now she has to divorce her spouse, who now, by the way, forgot to mention, Ellen Page, who was the Juno star and apparently X-Men, I don't remember her in X-Men, is now Elliot Page. Okay, which I don't have an issue with. I'll call them Elliot, I suppose, because you can change your name legally. I mean, I could change my name to Bill Joe Bob. But what I won't do is pretend that Elliot is a boy. Elliot is a female, biologically. And I think it's disenfranchising and it's outright wrong to disenfranchise your partner that now has to give you a divorce because by the left logic, Emma can no longer be married to Elliot because Elliot is a boy and she is born lesbian. So either one of two things. Either you're not born gay or lesbian or bisexual, it is a choice, or you are born and she can no longer be married to Elliot. I'm anxious to see what the decision will be. I'm guessing she's not going to get a divorce to Elliot, so the only conclusion would be that homosexuality, lesbianism, and bisexualism is not an inherent birth, it's a choice, which is what conservatives have been saying for 15, 20 years now. And we've been called everything from bigots to phobes to transphobes and lesbian phobe and homophobe. I mean, we've been called everything for simply stating that it's a choice to it's a sexual preference, which has been deemed wrong by Okinawan whatever from Hawaii. It's a preference. Just like I have a preference for a certain type of female, they have a preference for, in Emma's case, a female, and in Elliot/Ellen's case, a female. It would be as though I told everybody that I have a particular preference for women with big butts, and I married a girl with a big butt, and after 2 years of being married, she decided to chop off her butt. She had some sort of butt surgery. I don't know if they do that or not, but maybe. Chop off her butt and take her butt away. Now she's got a back straight to her legs. I now either have to have, if I tell everybody that I was born liking women with big butts, I was born that way. It's not choice. It's an inherent birth. I have one of two options. Either A, I have to divorce no butt girl, or I have to admit that it's a choice, not an inherent birthright, and stay with no butt girl. I can't have both, and this is what the liberals and the left have got to realize. Eventually they have to realize that you cannot have your cake and eat it too. It's impossible, because eventually you're going to have to choose. You cannot say that it is inherent at birth to be homosexual and then have Emma at 30-some years old. I don't know how old she is. Hold on. Jamie, pull that up. I wish I had a Jamie. Then, you know. So, she is about 26, 25, 26 it says, Emma Portner. And you have to, you cannot tell me that it is inherited birth and then 26 years later when she's now married to a man that it's still inherited at birth. You can't do that. It's impossible. It's illogical. It's a fallacy. If she stays with Elliot now that he's a boy, it is not inherited at birth that she is lesbian. Or there's only one other outcome, and that would be that it is inherited at birth, being lesbian or homosexual, and Elliot is not really a boy, he's still a girl, and that's the way that Emma is still with her. That's the only two options. You can't say that for 26 years she was birth inherit being lesbian, and then at 26 years old, now all of a sudden it's a choice. It doesn't work that way. That's what they call false. That is a lie of epic proportions. Anyway, that was crazy. That her being him and her marrying him, and now she likes him, not her, and her, not him. That's crazy. But this next topic is ridiculous. It's off the table ridiculous to the left. So this is a guy who he's a bodybuilder in Kazakhstan. His name is Yuri Tetikcha, something like that. Yuri. I'm going to call him Yuri. And he has become a sensation on the internet lately for posting videos and pictures of him with his sex doll. I kid you not. He has a sex doll named Margot that he has been dating for 2 years. And I think it was 2 years. And he proposed and they got married over the last couple of weeks. So we will take a look at that. So that's the couple there, and it's Tolochko, Yuri Tolochko there. That's him with her. I don't know how she was at a nightclub. That's a little weird. And there they are. It says there couples need to talk less and connect more. That's yeah. I mean, I'm sure she is talking less, to be perfectly honest. I'm going to read this article here. This is in therepublicworld.com. There's articles all over about this. And it says, Kazakhstan bodybuilder marries sex doll girlfriend in a grand ceremony and shares pictures. It says here, bodybuilder named Yuri Tolochko recently became a sensation on the internet when he married his sex doll and posted videos and pictures of his social media on his social media. The sex doll named Margot was his girlfriend for quite a long time, and he recently proposed to her in 2019. I don't know why you would even ask. I don't think she could say no. I mean, I guess unless he made her say no. But anyway, according to several media reports, a bodybuilder named Yuri Tolochko got married to his sex doll girlfriend after being in a relationship for 2 years. The bodybuilder shared photos on his social media where they both can be seen wearing wedding attires and celebrating the special day with family and friends. Yuri has been wearing a black tuxedo while his sex doll girlfriend was seen in a white lace gown. The couple then posed with their friends and family before cutting the cake. He had decided to marry his silicone girlfriend in the month of March, but due to the coronavirus pandemic. Well, I mean, in Yuri's defense, they did say that the coronavirus can stay on silicone for up to 48 hours. So, gotta be safe. Better safe than sorry. Another delay happened when the bodybuilder was attacked during a transgender rally in October. I swear you can't make this stuff up. But now they finally got married to each other. Yuri shared glimpses from his wedding in which the couple can be seen sharing their engagement rings and celebrating the wedding with all the rituals. At the end of the ceremony, Yuri kisses Margot, his sex doll, as they get married. He even shared the details about the injuries he had to go through after the attack on his social media account. According to an article by News 18, Tolochko revealed that when he shared his sex doll pics with the entire world, he had to face a lot of criticism, due to which his sex doll began to develop a complex about her looks. I kid you not, developed a complex about her looks. He also stated that they decided to have plastic surgery, and he got used to her new look in a short span of time. He also added that the surgery happened at a real clinic by real doctors. I want to know what doctor at what clinic performed plastic surgery on a silicone sex doll. And I want to know how much they charged, because I feel like charging anything more than like $29.95 is probably an overcharge for plastic surgery on a silicone sex doll. But I digress. That ends the segment of When Crazy Liberals Strike. Now, a few years back now, article or a segment was aired on the Now This, which is a horrible leftist media outlet. They did a segment 2 years ago, 2018, that warned Americans about how easily the voting machines, the electronic voting machines, can be hacked. They even go so far as to state that it only takes 1 minute and they could hack a voting machine and dictate the outcome in 30 states. 30 states. This is from Now This in 2018. Take a listen.
The serial console in the back gives us a root check. That means you have control of the machine. We have full control of that, and then we can change the results of what it's scanning. This is the way that you get data in and out of the operating system that runs on this machine. My computer is connected to the machine. This is a serial cable, and it's connected to the back of the machine. You take off the back of the machine, and there's a serial port, and that gives us full root access with no password. There's no security subsystem on this one. Nope. There's no password. With this kind of...
No security, they say. Now, remember, this was during the midterm elections where the Democrats were just guaranteed that Donald Trump 2 years prior had hired Vladimir Putin to rig the election so that he could become president of the United States, and they just knew that he was going to do it again in 2018. Fast forward to 2 more years, to 2020, and this was the safest, most secure election ever. Let's forget the fact that just 7 months ago, the left was screaming that Donald Trump was rigging the election. He was tearing out mailboxes and mail machines in the post office, and he was defunding the USPS. He was going to hack the presidential election. None of that came to fruition, and Joe Biden was called the winner on election night, essentially, and now all of a sudden it's the safest, most secure election. If you believe that there was any kind of hacking or interfering, then you are a conspiracy theorist. You're a tinfoil hat wearer. This is the flip-floppery. And this is the running theme for tonight. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't say, for instance, that men and women are inherently the same, and then turn around and be joyous when a woman kicks a football. You can't. You can't, because that would mean logically they would have to be inherently different for that to be a special, momentous occasion. You cannot say that if China had been more transparent, we would have known what was going on, but Donald Trump still would have killed 270,000 Americans. You can't. Logically, it's illogical. You can't say that you're inherently homosexual, straight, lesbian, or bisexual at birth, and then 26 years later, when given the choice, say, well, it's a choice now. It's not an inherent at birth thing. It's choice. You can't do that, because that would mean that it was a choice all along. And you can't say for 4 years that there was election fraud, that there's a potential for election fraud, and election fraud is the boogeyman under your bed every election until your candidate has been named a winner, and then now all of a sudden there is no election fraud. Election fraud is a conspiracy theorist. You can't do that. It makes it illogical, and it makes you look very stupid. And that's all the time that I have for tonight. I want to thank you and for joining me on this episode of the Johnny Ray Show. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe. Make sure you click the little bell on YouTube so that you get all the updates for all the new episodes as they air. Also, I want you to comment down below on anything I might have missed as far as the Senate hearings. If there's a video that you think is better than that firecracker that destroyed Lord Voldemort, share it to me. I would love to see it. And comment down below what your favorite witness was for the Senate hearings, whether it was Arizona, Michigan, Georgia, Pennsylvania, whatever the case may be. And also comment down below on what you think Emma Portner should do now that she is inherently a lesbian at birth and married to a male. Should she divorce Elliot, or should she stick it out and make it a choice to be straight? What do you think? Make sure to tweet me, comment down below. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Good news, I have finished my jail sentence in Facebook prison. I'm sure I'll be back there soon because Mark Zuckerberg sucks. And so make sure that you share the videos as much as you possibly can, because chances are they're going to be buried in the abyss if you don't share them, because I'm not able to do anything ever without going to jail. So make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, share every video. I want viral videos everywhere. I want them to see the Johnny Ray Show in every country across the land. I will be implementing a paywall membership program in the near future, so make sure and be on the lookout for that. I will have special episodes behind the scenes and all that good stuff behind the paywall, so you won't want to miss that. And the only way to know that is to follow me on social media. Follow me on Twitter at jray918. Also on Facebook, while I'm able to be there, at the Johnny Ray Show, as well as Instagram at the Johnny Ray Show. You can also catch the show on all audio podcast platforms, Spotify, Anchor, SoundCloud, anywhere where there's audio podcasts, you can catch it. Until next time, good night. God bless.